In 1971, the formation of the Chichester Harbour Conservancy by Act of Parliament required the new organisation to manage the Chichester Harbour area for three things: for leisure and recreation, for nature conservation and the harbour's natural beauty. And the push behind this came from the designation of this area as an AONB, Area of Outstanding Natural Beauty, back in 1964. The local warden for the Nature Conservancy Council was Richard Williamson, and he was asked to look at Chichester Harbour, and he produced the first environmental report on the condition of the area in 1966. Richard began regular bird counts in 1969, and as he was the only one doing that at the time, he used to rush about from harbour channel to channel on his motorbike. The full SSSI designation, which includes most of the harbour channels, was established in 1970. The monthly bird counts are probably the most important source of data that we have for protecting the birds and the habitats in Chichester Harbour. Right back at the beginning, it was coordinated by the Sussex Ornithological Society, the SOS, and so Richard did the counts just on the West Sussex side. These days, the counts are coordinated by the BTO, the British Trust for Ornithology, and it is a national initiative. The monthly bird counts happen round about the same day across the whole of the country, so it's not something that we can choose to do when the weather is lovely. And today it's a blustery day, and also it's starting to rain, but we try and do our best and get the counts done. These are some of the Brent geese. They come to the harbour for the winter time, and they come from Siberia. That's where their breeding grounds are, and we have up to 12,000 of them each winter. Chichester Harbour was included on a worldwide list of important wetlands when it was made a Ramsar site in 1971, which was implemented in 1975. Ramsar is actually the name of the place where the conference took place and isn't an acronym. Pretty much the only one we have. This bird hide is at Cobner Point. It's dedicated to Joan Edam. There's a memorial plaque here to her, and Joan was a volunteer and was the first conservation warden for the Conservancy. There were also two European directives protecting the harbour. These were the SPA in 1979, which stands for Special Protection Area for Birds, and the SAC in 1994, which stands for Special Area of Conservation for the Protection of Habitats. And these two together across Europe are called Natura 2000. These European protections have recently been imported into our own national law by a parliamentary bill. It was decided that more data collection was needed, such as of the mud fauna, the insects and the plants, to help us understand more about the harbour and to help look after it for its future. So the harbour's first conservation warden, Joan, campaigned to have Nutbull Marshes made a local nature reserve, and this was achieved in 1976. In 1986, the Conservancy established its first paid conservation warden role, and this went to James Fennell, who stayed for 2 years. In that time, he helped to clear up the damage after the big storm in 1987, when a lot of trees came down, tried out the first little turn raft on Stakes Islands in 1987, and was in post when the Friends of Chichester Harbour was formed in the same year. From 1988, the role was taken on by Andy Potier for a long and productive stretch until 2007. The current role is held by our ecologist, Pete Hughes. These days, data collection is obtained alongside partners such as Chichester District Council for Water Quality and IFCA, that's the Inshore Fisheries and Conservation Authority, for species of fish and for fishing activities. I'm here now in the Harbour office in Itchenor, and with me is the Director and Harbour Master, Richard Craven. Hi Richard.
Hi Judy.
So tell me, Richard, what other research is going on in the harbour these days?
The big focus at the moment really is water quality. So we, for many years now, last 13 years, we've been testing the bacterial quality of the water to make sure it's safe for harbour users and good for the general environment. But we're also now getting involved in other aspects of water quality. We're particularly concerned about nitrates, and we're looking at studies the Environment Agency are doing and Intertech on behalf of Southern Water. We're also concerned at some of the other less obvious things, like the endocrine disrupting chemicals, which come in through all kinds of different sources, innocuous things like sun creams and through clothing. But we've joined partnerships with a number of local universities and in Le Havre and Caen as part of an Interreg project looking at endocrine disrupting chemicals. So we've identified the ones we think are most likely to have an impact, and we'll be doing research in the harbour to see the kind of impacts they're having on the invertebrates. And so we can, from that, decide how bad they are and what actions need to be taken on the back of that.
This is one of the seals that I take with me when I'm talking to families about the seals that live in Chichester Harbour. The seals here are counted regularly too, and this is led by our ecologist Pete Hughes, along with John Arnott, who is a volunteer and local naturalist who helps us in getting this data together. Looking to the future, the biggest overriding concern is understanding and managing for the outcomes of climate change. The Conservancy staff are involved in monitoring change and also working with stakeholder groups to try and find ways to best manage the way forward for the AONB. The biggest threats are sea level rise and the increasing frequency of stormy, windy weather. Like every other organisation, the Conservancy is also looking at its carbon footprint, and this year will go through a comprehensive audit in order to begin planning to become net carbon neutral in the next few years.